Hammer gang. Cause we always hit the nail on the head. What's going on, my Miami Hurricane fans? I'll make sure y'all leave a comment. Let me know who's all in here. I see we got Jack Mack, left that gas. Man, let me know who all is in here. Let me know who all is in here. Know who all is in here. Now, as y'all know, yesterday the scrimmage went down. Scrimmage number 2. Yo, what's going on, Jason? What's going on, Gator Hater? How you doing, boss? How y'all doing this morning? Let me know who all's there. You know, y'all just say good morning or something. Good morning, everybody. All right, so scrimmage number 2 went down. Now we're gonna go through the Manny Diaz, posts and everything like that. Who's calling me? Hello? Oh, give me 1 second. I'm coming outside. You guys give me 1 second. I'll be right back. All right. Sorry about that. Um, had ordered some food for the kids and stuff, so they just came. All right, so Manny Diaz press conference. We're gonna start off with that one.
Well, first half, I thought the defense, really took it to the offense. You could see the addition of some of the guys coming back on the defensive line, and just that added to an overall edge to their play. I thought the offense in the second half responded and played some better and moved the ball in the second half and had some touchdown drives. Um, Overall, though, it was much too sloppy of a scrimmage, much sloppier than the first scrimmage. Was kind of a strange deal. Way too many penalties. Some things that we're gonna have to sternly address this week in practice.
Had a really nice night, as did the defensive line in general. You talked about the energy they brought.
Yeah, that first group. I mean, and the fact that they can roll a lot of guys. I mean, Quincy and Jalen were both, very disruptive. Getting John Ford back. Just a lot of guys, creating havoc there in the backfield and creating some negative plays, which we had very few negative plays in the first scrimmage, and it seemed like there were a lot more tonight.
You mentioned the offense responded in the second half. What do you think of the quarterback play overall?
Thought it was okay. Thought it was just okay.
What's
Not
going
where we
on,
wanted
Miami
to
boy?
go. But we were
Big Kane won.
hoping tonight, as crazy as it sounds, we wanted some adversity, because last week I think it was so simple, and we wanted to see how guys responded, and did we get sad in our feelings, or do we have some gumption about us to kind of, fight back and weren't getting backed in the corner, which it seemed like they did.
Defense bounced back a lot this week.
Running and receiving. Can you talk a little bit about
Yeah, Cam was fantastic. He had, I guess, 13 for 77 and a touchdown and 2 touchdown catches, 5 catches for 2 for touchdowns. But really set the tone. The first touchdown in the first half, he caught a ball in the flat about 8 yards from the end zone and had 3 guys that really had him to get him on the ground, and he ran through all 3 tackles for a touchdown. So very impressive to see that, Cam's making an older guy type play.
We talked about the freshman running backs last week, and again, they seem to have a solid performance.
They again got better. The freshman running backs as the scrimmage went on. I think after their big plays a week ago, sometimes you have the tendency you want to hit a grand slam with no one on base. And I felt that early on they were trying to bounce things that weren't there. And I think once they started trusting their cuts and just sticking it, becoming north-south runners, once they clear that front line, now they can use their explosion. But early on, they were running us into some trouble by trying to, make every play a touchdown.
2 scrimmages in the books. What's on tap for the team this coming week?
Oh, we got a big week this week. We got to get our guys. We got to be able to extend these drives, especially in the heat. During training camp, we were going in the evening a lot. We got to get on Green Tree. We need a hot week of practice, and we just got to continue to push our guys through this week and make it really, really hard on them, make it really difficult on them, and really find out. Pretty much the last week we'll have to really find out who we can count on to go compete against UAB.
All right, so as you can hear, Manny said this week was pretty sloppy. Now, last week, the offense was very dominant. The defense looked like it had digressed, if you ask anybody. But this week, the defense stepped up. Now, it's being said that De'Aaron King threw for 95 yards, but right now we do not have the stats of, completion rate. We don't know how many attempts he attempted, how many he completed. We just know that he has 95 yards. He threw 2 touchdowns. Also, veteran running back Cam Harris had 3 touchdowns total. Two was receiving touchdowns and one was a rushing touchdown. Cam ended up with 13 rush for 77 yards. So this week was Cam's week. Now Jalen Knight and Cheney, they also, they played pretty good. They both had over 40-yard rushing each. And let me see, Brevin Jordan. Now Brevin Jordan did not play last week, but this week he did. He had 4 catches. Right now the stats are not out of how many yards he had total, but he had 4 catches, which by the way, Cam Harris and Xavier Respo, they both had 5 catches yesterday. Now Respo had, I think, 79 yards off of 5 catches and a touchdown also. But the defense stepped up more than anything. But we're gonna get into the defense in a second. I want to share a highlight video from a sophomore. Right now, this dude his videos is going viral. Everybody's starting to see it, and he's an immense talent in South Florida. So I'm gonna share his video highlight with you guys.
Go. All right, good. Rip up. He's doing his thing. Take that camera. He's up in the roll the hand. Yeah. Hit. Go, hit it. There you go. Let's go finish. There you go.
He ain't no bread because he lazy. Let me tell you what I take. And it's big Louboutin when I'm slept at. And it's big 38 for the weekend. Go J.O. with the rest of it. Don't drag on me like Lego. But he got the apes on the payroll. I do you rock with J.O. You know your move, I say no. Duck on that Tatum. Only I stay with the Zeus.
All right, so we got some people up in here. What's going on? What's going on, Judge Juno? What's going on, 863 and Cynthia? What's going on, Cynthia? Cynthia, got your $18 from the IRS. Wow. If that's the case, hey, they might as well keep that. They might as well keep that. Ain't nobody gonna be able to do nothing with that. Can't even buy a beer. Can't even buy a beer at the stadium with that. Now, let's get into some of them defensive stats. Defense stepped up major yesterday. All right, so a name that most of us probably weren't that familiar with, Brian Bullam. Dude had 7 tackles, had an interception, and he had a forced fumble. Now, before that, most of us probably weren't even looking at him. Most of us probably didn't even say that, this kid probably going to be a breakout or anything like that. We probably was just all overlooking him. But he had a pretty phenomenal day. Now, Avery Huff also tuned in with 5 tackles, 2 sacks. Takari Couch also had an interception. So that's 2 interceptions already thrown by the offense. Now, from what I'm hearing, De'Aaron King did not throw an interception. So 1 out of 3 backups that played threw those interceptions because it said that 4 quarterbacks played yesterday, including De'Aaron King. So what I'm going to guess is, since they have not put that information out yet, that it would be Perry, Tyler Van Dyke, and maybe Tate Martell. So somebody threw an interception, or maybe even threw 2 interceptions. But 2 interceptions was thrown. Takari caught 1, and Brian Bullam caught 1. Now Corey Flagg had a forced fumble. Now he had a phenomenal first scrimmage. He's still making a name for himself. Also, now Jafari Harvey had 6 tackles also. Yeah. Now Respo had 5. I think I already said this, but Respo had 5 receptions for 79 yards and a touchdown too. See, right now they're pretty vague with the information that they're putting out. They're not really giving us too much, as these scrimmages are not really televised. So later on in the week we'll probably get like little 1 minute or 2 minute highlights and stuff like that. But they're not really putting it out there. Now as of today, we do have 18 more days until the start of the season. So, UAB will come to town. Now, as it comes to like fans in the stands, we're not quite sure where we stand on that at the moment. But I've heard that Georgia Tech is only allowing 11,000 fans in the stands. So if that's the case, I think that Miami might actually end up letting fans in the stand. Now, how many fans will be in the stand? That is uncertain. The numbers haven't came out yet, and who these fans will be has not come out yet. So that's something that we're gonna have to tune in and look forward to more towards the future. Now, any of you guys had any expectations from yesterday? I'm gonna put the link in the chat, so if anybody wants to come in and give their thoughts and opinions on anything, you're more than welcome to. But the major thing that I took from yesterday was the defense stepping up. The defense stepping up because, as you know, last week they got torched. The offense was scoring at will. You get a touchdown, you get a touchdown. It was like Oprah was out there last week. Just handing out touchdowns to anybody on the offense. So to see the defense step up and put a stop to it, you know, it's great. That showed that the defense and the offense is starting to balance out, and that's a good thing going. Seeing that the season is about to start pretty soon. Now, Manny did say that it was pretty sloppy. That they got to work on those penalties. Penalties. That's what they're working on this whole week of practice. This week of practice is going to be very intense. They're going to get out the green tree. They're going basically, it's going to be a hot week. It's going to be a hot, humid week of practice. It's going to be intense. The season about to start pretty soon, so they got to get it down as much as they possibly can, seeing that they lost so much time during the spring, and they got to build that team chemistry at this moment. Said good. They're messing up on field to correct their mistakes. Now right, not on game time. That's perfect right there. It's best that they catch all the mistakes early, like right now, try to fix them, because we don't want that fiasco going on in the season where you're giving up all these yards based off penalties. What could have been a 3rd and 2 end up being a 3rd and 7 and stuff like that, or even holding and stuff like that. Got to get those penalties down because we don't want those penalties costing us games or costing us major yardage on drives and stuff like that. So hopefully, like Manny said, hopefully they get it together. Yeah, Gator Hater, man, where have you been? I don't have a beard no more. I shaved off the beard, man. Yeah, what's going on, BB? How you doing, boss? Say if you shave, you should forfeit the bet. What bet? I don't made so many bets. I don't even remember half the bets, bro. And like I said, I'm gonna put the link is in the chat for anybody who wants to come in and air their opinion. Let us know how you feeling about the scrimmage. Like I said, more than likely during the week we'll get more information, but they're very secretive with a lot of this information. They're not letting the games be televised. Basically, they don't want no spies, man. They don't want to give out any of the things that we're doing to opponents, because right now a lot of our opponents don't know what we're doing. They know we got a new offense. They don't know what they expect. So I'm thinking that they're keeping it secretive because they don't want to, give any of our opponents any advantage. Plus, on top of that, with the whole Corona pandemic, I'm pretty sure they don't want too many media or too many people to come inside our bubble, like they've been saying. So, Burns, I have not been hearing anything about Burns. I don't know what's going on with his situation. I've been hearing about everybody else but Burns. They've been giving out information about everybody else but Burns. It's been Jalen Knight, it's been Chaney, and Cam Harris, but nobody has said anything about Burns yet. I don't know what's going on with his situation, but it's unclear. Even last week with Reverend Jordan, they weren't giving out no information until we found out that basically he did not play last week. So Robert Burns is a question mark right now. till they give us more information, we do not have anything on Robert Burns. How they looking in practice? They looking mighty decent on defense compared to last week. The defense stepped up pretty good, and the offense is still pushing. So I think going into the season, I think we'll have a balanced offense and defense. I think they'll be performing pretty well. I think right now, based on who we play in the ACC, teams that we play, UAB will be the game where we kind of sort a little bit of things out, see where the defense and offense stand, and then we'll go into ACC play, and from there on, you know, we'll see what we're really made of for the season. But as of right now, everything looks good. Defense showed that last week they was pretty bad, but they showed up this week. A lot of mental mistakes was corrected. Everybody's starting to play harder and click more together. So it'll be tough. Now Roshi and Jalen, Manny was high on those two. He said that basically this season they're gonna cause a lot of disruption in a lot of people's backfields. They're looking phenomenal out there. I know a lot of people was a little bummed out when Greg Russo decided to opt out. But if you've been following Miami Hurricanes football for the whole offseason, then you'll know that we had four guys that could at the defensive end. Now with Russo gone, Jalen has stepped up and Jafari has stepped up. So we should be pretty good in those positions. Our linebackers are starting to show, a little bit more aggression and stuff like that too. So I think all around defense and offensively this season we're gonna be great. Yep. Basically, I think that's what they're pretty much gonna be doing. For the next couple of weeks, practice hard and study the playbook, get everything down pat, and it's going to be interesting to see who half the starters are going to be on that offense and defense. Now, I'm also waiting to see if they're going to release any information on Mallory because last week Mallory had a great game. He had great stats and everything like that. He performed very well. So right now we don't have any information on him also. So it'll be interesting to see what else they give us during the week. What other information they'll release? Because a lot of players, they haven't given us any stats on them, like Mark Pope, Jeremiah Payton, you know, pretty much the whole wide receiving core, except for Xavier Respo. So D Wiggins, those guys, we don't have any stats on them as of yet. These stats from these scrimmages normally throughout the week they give us little bits, pieces here and there, but they don't give us all the information at once. It kind of sucked with the whole pandemic thing because there's not no extra heads out there that would release this information early. Anyways, that Manny Diaz interview, that post game interview, it's up right now. I think it's on let me make sure I give them their credit. Yeah, the Manny Diaz interview is up right now on Inside the U. So if you guys want to go check it out and listen to what he has to say about, the scrimmage and everything like that, it's on Inside the U. So you can go check their video out. That's the one I played in the beginning of this. Now, like I said, I'm gonna put the link in the chat one more time. So if anybody wants to come in and discuss anything about the scrimmage or anything that's going on in general with Miami, you're more than welcome to join me on the screen. Say her Florida O-line is looking good. Well, I hope so. Well, for them at least. Are almost there, but the juniors leave the top juniors. They need to stay the senior year, step up big. Yeah, I think a lot of those guys this season will stay because they're right now they're being granted an extra year of eligibility if they actually do stay. If they play this season, it will not count against them. So those guys to stay another extra season. Like for instance, if De'Aaron King does not want to go into the NFL draft, or if he wants to come back an extra year, he can come back next season, and that's for all the players. The NCAA has already passed that ruling. So if you do end up playing this season, you might as well call it a free play. Call it a free play. It won't count against your eligibility. So basically, right now, everybody has like 5 years of eligibility. So that means if the Eric King ain't satisfied with this season, he don't want to enter the draft, he could come back next season and start against Alabama, and that would be incredible. Now a lot of the guys, like he was saying, I hope that they do stay they senior year. If not, if a lot of these guys build up great tapes to where they can be drafted, more than likely they'll go. But if we could get some of these guys to come back for their senior season, Miami should be looking like a threat. What's going on, Nick? How you doing, boss? Yeah. So I think we covered pretty much everything that's out there right now. Now, if any information comes out during the week that we did not cover, or anything like that, I will keep you guys posted. Whether it's posting stuff in the community posts or even making a video itself. Uh, he said Lashley might be a one and done. Well, hopefully not. Hopefully not. But I mean, Lashley, if he does great this season, he will have the potential to probably be a head coach somewhere else, which more than likely he probably would take that opportunity. Which at that moment we can't blame him. But what we would have to do is bring in somebody that runs a similar offense to what he runs, because right now his offense is pretty much showing to be very effective in Miami. Most of the kids that are on Miami's roster, the spread offense has been what they've been taught. So hopefully, uh, hold on, they say, well, in some places the players can't do anything but wait until the head coach tell them to move. So quarterback play for the Dolphins. Yeah, that was pretty much last season with Dan Enos most of the time. Most of the players could not check down, call any audibles or anything like that. So it's pretty tough to run an offense where you can't make no adjustment when you're a quarterback and you're reading the defense and you see stuff that not's going to happen and you can't call an audible out of it. It's pretty tough. 863 said Lashley will be here for 2 to 3 years. I mean, hopefully he is, but like I said, if his offense clicked this year pretty well, and there's head coaching positions that's out there, and they're pretty much interested in him and we're willing to pay him a great amount of money, I think he does take it because he does has a long resume. So becoming a head coach, I think probably would be on his bucket list. Said Georgia Tech looks good, probably beat FSU. Well, who knows at this moment? I mean, FSU don't really have a locker room, if you ask me, but we'll see when it comes game time. Jay Garcia down here for real. Yeah, Jay Garcia transferred to a school up in Georgia, so he's pretty much on the east side right now. He's still committed to USC, but him being on this side just make Miami chances a little bit better at landing him. Not saying that we will land him, but hopefully we do land him. If not, we'll be all right. Said Joe Brady. Um, I'm guessing you mean you think if Reed Lashley leaves, then we might get Joe Brady. That's tough to call. He said, "Give me Hood Lewis Smith," and he's saying, "Rob Likely will be the new OC." And it's a lot of options. Joe too say Hammer Game. It's Hammer Gang. Gang. We always hit the nail on the head. What's it on? Said Joe Brady was a one and done. Yeah. It depends, man. Like I said, it depends on how good our offense is clicking. What kind of numbers Reed Lashley's putting up this season. Could be one of those where certain teams open up that head coach position and made him an offer that he can't refuse. So we'll see. Um, Melissa May, she's an Alabama fan. She said, "I was hoping we could get to play Florida this year." Dan Mullen and and Megan were having that. Oh man, if you see my last one of my last videos, I was talking about. I was doing a Florida Gator video. I was breaking down their schedule. And I was talking about basically, Florida got the easiest schedule in the SEC right now. So I'm not really gonna go into Florida. If you guys want to watch that video, I think it's like the second or third. Well, if you click on my page, you can't miss it. They got a big old Gator sign on it, so you can't miss it. Just look for the video with the big dumpster on it. It say Florida always scared. Yeah, Florida. If out now, if Florida, if this conference only thing picks up after 2020, it might be hard to even schedule Florida anymore. It might be hard because if they go to like playing, 10 game on a regular base where you only have like two other games out of conference, it might be hard to even schedule Florida because with four non-con games, they already run from us to play us only like what every 4 or 5 years or so. So if it goes to where we're playing 10 conference games moving forward, if that were to happen, then it'll be nearly impossible to get Florida. It'll probably go from 4 to 5 years to maybe 8 to 9 years, which would suck. Said Joe Brady got a ring and then NFL job. Yep. And you got to look at what he did at LSU. That 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 came out of nowhere. Nobody, if you go back to last season in the beginning, nobody would pretty much guess that LSU would be as dominant as they was. That's for them. They said we need to hold on to our offensive coordinator. We can't let him leave for only one season. Now that's like I said, that's easier said than done. If a team is offering him millions and millions to play, we might not be able to match that. We might not be able to, stop that. And I mean, I'm pretty sure as an offensive coordinator, defensive coordinator, and all of that, you want to progress. You want to continue. You want to level up in your career as much as possible. So keeping him might determine on location and money. But you can't really blame a guy for wanting to, progress and level up, even if it does mean that he might have to leave Miami. Yeah, he said Auburn and Arkansas are the only teams I see leaving early. Yeah, that might be so. We got some great what's your name? Some great coordinators. Say let's talk about Cam Harrison and his abilities. Yeah, Cam, like I said, Cam is going to be that guy this season. Cam is showing tremendous athletic abilities. One of the photos that I've seen from the scrimmage is him hurdling over one of the defenders. So he got great ability catching wise, running wise, making moves. So Cam this season, I think Cam gonna be one of those guys that once he get the ball, once he get a gap, it's gonna be hard to stop him. Nah, he's one of those dudes too. Tremendous acceleration, especially when he gets in the open field. So it'll be great to see what he can do, and he definitely can lower that shoulder too. King of Battle say Garcia equals no legs. Uh, like I said, we'll see with the Garcia thing. Garcia is still committed to USC, so we'll see more down the line with Garcia. But as of right now, Garcia is still a USC guy. That's the assistants. Got the big bag. It will be the first time head coach. We'll be surprised to see. They say it's supposed to be so I'm guessing it's supposed to storm this week in Miami. Well, I mean, as long as there's no lightning out there, I think they should still practice because South Florida weather. Most of the time when you watch the game, it's raining, so that'll be a kind of an experience that they would get also if they do practice. Like because a lot of time game time is raining. I've been to plenty of games where I'm in the stand, I'm soaking wet, and games still go on as long as there's no lightning in the area. What up, King of Battle? Thank you for that, Joe. See, I hope Manny Diaz is gonna touch offensive coordinator. Yeah, I don't think Manny will have that problem this season to where he wants to interfere with anything on the offensive side. I think this season he'll just sit back, and let Reed Lashley does his thing because Manny is not really an offensive guy. He's pure defense. So unless Manny's been doing some extra studies on offense and trying to figure out how to run an offense, I think he would leave Reed Lashley to run it 100%. I hope for his sake he does. I think Manny with the defense, I think Manny's gonna let Blake do his thing or whatever. I think he's just gonna step in if things ever get rough. So I think what Manny will do, he'll start being more of a head coach and facilitate the game. But I think he'll let the offense and defensive coordinators do their thing. Unless he has to interject on the defense, then I think everything else will be all right. Come on, man. Mommy, why are you loading my phone? Right. Exactly, Cynthia. Let them guys run their offense and defense. If you have to interject here and there, then do so. But other than that, let those guys do what they do. Say Manny already concerned about 3 and outs. He better not change the offensive tempo. Right. Just let Reed Lashley run his offense. We already seen, if any of you guys checked out any of the SMU games from last season, I'm not talking about just highlights. If you watch any of the games from start to finish, then you'll know that offense is pretty fast and they score fast and everything like that. So we'll put points up on the board on offense with no problem, I think. So I don't think Manny would necessarily, have to interject on anything offensive wise. He said, now Nick said, what do you think about Jalen? Well, we got 2 Jalen. If you're talking about Jalen Phillips, I think Jalen Phillips is going to be phenomenal. I think he got the athletic ability to do a lot of, cause a lot of problems in the backfield on the defensive side. Now, if you're talking about Jalen Knight, then I think he's going to be a phenomenal running back this season too. Now, whether or not he'll be, whether or not he be behind Cam or Don Chaney would be behind Cam right now, it's still up for grabs. But I think Jalen Knighton has a little bit more edge to become, the second string or, even potentially try to challenge Cam. But I think right now Cam would be the starter. He said nobody's talking about Clemson 317 defense. They learned in 2 weeks for the LSU game. Laugh out loud. They should be more than ready for our fast-paced tempo. Yeah, I don't put it out of mind that Clemson will be, get ready for a fast tempo offense that we running, but at the same time, we saw what they did with LSU. Now, I'm not saying that we have the amount of talent that LSU had in the quarterback, position that they had last season. Because if you watch LSU, then you'll see that they was dominant. There was a dominant force from the beginning of the season to the end. But I think if Miami just go out there, play their game, run their offense, don't get starstruck by Clemson because Clemson's on top right now. I think we'll be just fine. I think our defense will hold and everything. I think it'll be a dogfight with Clemson. Hopefully it's not one of those games where we go out there and prove to ourselves that we're not on the level that we thought we were. Hopefully we go out there, run it with them from beginning to end, and hopefully pull out a win. Garcia got enough wheels. He still had SMU doing the work. Oh, okay, he's talking to King of Battle. He said, man, he knows how to stay in his lane. He's a smart dude. Yeah, no doubt. No doubt. I think, like I said, offensive wise, I think he'll lead those guys alone. Yeah, well, we need patience for the players and coaches for right now. Yeah, right now all we can do is watch what's going on, sit back, relax and let it play out. Let it play out. Game time, everything that's going on right now, we'll see how it works out in game time. But right now we're looking phenomenal. We just gotta see it on the field at this moment. Yeah, we definitely. I think we'll definitely be great next season. I think we're gonna be great this season, but I think we're gonna be even better next season. So what's going on, Dre? What do you think we get another running back besides Franklin? Um, right now, I'm not sure if they're going to go after another running back. They haven't really been showing much interest in other running back other than Franklin. Plus, Franklin already shut down his he's already shut down his whole recruiting and everything. But I definitely would have to check into what other running backs are out there. You know, if they even offered any other ones, and I'd have to get back to you on that one. Stunner boy, at this moment, right now, it's difficult to pick because each week we've been having different guys doing different things showing up. You know, offensive wise, I think Xavier, wide receiver Xavier Respo, he's somebody to look out for. On the defensive side, I want to say Jalen Phillips, but that's pretty much probably everybody's pick right now. But I do want to see on the defensive side also how Sam Brook do this season. Okay, somebody said Amari Daniels. Let's see what else we got here. Somebody said they would take Mataka over Garcia. Check out his high school tape. Yeah, Mataka. A lot of people sleeping on Mataka, but I think Mataka will be all right in the future. And say Rochi. Yeah, Rochi, Phillips. I think both of them coming off of that edge. It's gonna be tough, man. A lot of backfields are gonna feel that pain. A lot of quarterbacks are gonna be scrambling for their life. A lot of those pro style pocket offense quarterbacks, they're gonna feel it. Yeah, I think that definitely be one of the keys to us basically having a great offense and defense this season. A lot of the guys, Rob Likman, Reed Lashley and those guys. I think the kids they pretty much like them. You know, it's very important for the kids to like the coaches, man, because you'll see the difference in effort when you actually like your coaches and everything like that. I think they're very likable dudes, and they're not no pushover either. They pushing these kids to strive for better each and every time. So it'll be great to see the chemistry this season because last season that offense, everybody know that offense was terrible. Half the kids didn't trust Dan Enos. Half the kids didn't know half the plays that he was running and stuff. And as you already know, this season most of the kids has basically said that the offense that Reed Lashley has presented, they can learn it in 15 minutes or less. So that's pretty much good. But like I said, the defense, the offense, they both clicking right now. It looked like we're gonna have a balanced offense and defense season. But everything right now is all speculation, so we got to see it on the field. We got to see it on the field. But everything right now looks great. He said Kevin Smith, Miami Palmetto quarterback. He's up next. I'm gonna check out his film, see how he doing. Well, what year is he supposed to go? What year? What year is Kevin Smith? Okay, so Kevin Smith is right now he's a 3-star. He's a pro-style quarterback for Miami Palmetto. He's 30th in his position and 65 in the state. So far he's been offered by Southern Miss and Arizona State. Yeah, but he's a 2022 prospect, so he got time to get his stats up. And or like I said, right now he only has 2 offers, so he has time to develop. And I'm pretty sure down the line more schools will start offering him. Let me see if he got any tape, any highlights. Yeah, at this moment, Kevin Smith doesn't have any highlights out, so there's no video, to share what he's doing. Yeah, but I'll keep him in the back of my mind, see what he does this season. I think we'll finally watch a game this year where we know that our kicker will make capable field goal attempts. Yeah, yeah. Jose's been looking great in practice. He's been looking great. Last scrimmage, he hit a 49er. He was 100% on all his kicks. So it should be interesting to see, if we get into those situations this season where it comes down to kicks and stuff like that, field goals, I think we'll be in a good position. Hey, I'll be quiet. Hold on, y'all say y'all can't hear. Let me check the audio. Okay, I think y'all. Can you guys hear me now? Some of y'all in the chat was saying you couldn't hear. Can you guys hear me now? Yeah, okay, perfect. As Haitian Kane, what's going on, boss? He said he liked Kevin Smith. Yeah, like I said, Kevin Smith, he doesn't really have any highlights right now. But like I said, he's a quarterback, pro-style quarterback from Miami Palmetto. He's a 3-star prospect right now, 30th in his position, and 65 in the state of Florida. So when more if any of his highlights come out or anything like that, then you know I'll put those out. I'll share those with you guys. We can watch them together and break them down and see how we feel about them. But as of right now, we don't have no video of what he's done. Oh man, that's what's up, boss. Okay. Okay, so everybody said they can hear me perfect. Yeah, sometimes StreamYard acts up every now and then. Well, hold on. I still want to see the staff go after Brown. Jitter's a dog. Yeah, I mean, right now he's still up. He's still out there. We still interested in. We still going after him, but you know, it's tough to say whether or not we're gonna land him. But he did. I think he did get an offer from Miami, and he's definitely on our recruiting target list. He's on that list, so it'll be interesting to see if we get him or not. To see if he, wind up coming to Miami. But like I said, I'm gonna put the link in the chat one more time for anybody who wants to come in and give their opinions and thoughts about the scrimmage and how they feeling about, Miami, seeing how we doing in the scrimmages and stuff like that. How you feel about, will they be ready game time? So the link is in the chat. All you got to do is click it and come on. You don't need you need to sign up or anything. Now, if you don't want to be on camera, you have the option to turn the camera on and just come on with audio. But the link is in the chat for anybody who wants to come in and give their opinion and thoughts about the scrimmage, about everything that's going on in Miami right now. As you guys know, North Carolina also had four players opt out of playing for North Carolina. So I think the little hype that they had going on might have slimmed down a little bit. But like I said, the link is in the chat. If nobody wants to come on, we're gonna wrap it up. I think we touched bases on everything that went down. How we feeling about the team? Anybody want to give their opinion? The link is in the chat. All right, like I said, one more time, the link is in the chat. Anybody want to come in, give their thoughts and opinions? Other than that, we're gonna wrap it up. I'm gonna put it, like I said, I'm gonna put the link in there one more time. Give you guys maybe a minute or so to click it if you want to come in and give your opinions. If not, I'm gonna wrap the show up. And you know what? For those of you that came in late that probably did not see the Manny Diaz post scrimmage, I'm gonna play that for you guys one more time. Like I said, that's coming from inside the U. That's coming from inside the U. Manny Diaz post scrimmage. That way you guys can hear and see how he feels about the scrimmage that went down. Thank you, boss. Mr. Jackson Poe, you love Miami, don't you? You know all our news when it come out.
The addition of some of the first half, I thought the defense, really took it to the offense. You could see the addition of some of the guys coming back on the defensive line, and just that added to an overall edge to their play. I thought the offense in the second half responded and played some better and moved the ball in the second half and had some touchdown drives. Overall, though, it was much too sloppy of a scrimmage, much sloppier than the first scrimmage. It was kind of a strange deal. Way too many penalties. Some things that we're gonna have to sternly address this week in practice.
Quincy Roche had a really nice night, as did the defensive line in general. Can you talk about the energy they brought?
Yeah, that first group. I mean, and the fact that they can roll a lot of guys. I mean, Quincy and Jalen were both, very disruptive. Getting John Ford back, um, just a lot of guys, creating havoc there in the backfield and creating some negative plays, which we had very few negative plays in the first scrimmage, and it seemed like there were a lot more tonight.
You mentioned the offense responded in the second half. What do you think of the quarterback play overall?
Thought it was okay. Thought it was just okay. Not as good as it was a week ago, but we were hoping tonight, as crazy as it sounds, we wanted some adversity because last week I think it was so simple, and we wanted to see how guys responded. And did we get sad in our feelings, or do we have some gumption about us to kind of, fight back and we're getting back in the corner, which it seemed like they did.
Cam Harris had a great game running and receiving. Can you talk a little bit about
Yeah, Cam was fantastic. He had, 13 for 77 and a touchdown and 2 touchdown catches, 5 catches for 2 for touchdowns, but really set the tone. The first touchdown in the first half, he caught a ball in the flat about 8 yards from the end zone and had 3 guys that really had him to get him on the ground, and he ran through all 3 tackles for a touchdown. So very impressive to see that, Cam's making an older guy type play.
We talked about the freshman running backs last week, and again, they
Yo, what's going on, boss?
They again got better. The freshman running
What's
back,
going on, baby?
I think,
Good morning.
big plays a week ago.
How you doing, man? You
Just
good?
You want to hit a grand slam with no one on base.
Yeah,
And
everything good, man.
Kind of bounce things.
Just
at once.
tuning in, man.
They started trusting their cuts.
Checking you out, baby. That's all.
South runners.
Yeah,
Once they clear that front
let me
line,
let
now
Manny
things
finish. You
are
should be
explosive.
finished in
But
less
early
than
on, they were
a couple
All right,
seconds.
no problem.
running us into some trouble by trying to, make every play a touchdown.
two scrimmages in the books. What's on tap for the team?
Well, we got a big week this week. We got to get our guys. We got to be able to extend these drives, especially in the heat. During training camp, we were going in the evening a lot. We got to get on Green Tree. We need a hot week of practice, and we just got to continue to push our guys through this week and make it really, really hard on them, make it really difficult on them, and really find out. Pretty much the last week we'll have to really find out who we can count on to go compete against UAB.
Oh, what's going on, boss?
T2, can you hear me?
Yeah, perfectly.
Man,
You got
everything
you got to
good,
kill
man.
the background noise though. I can hear myself.
That's my background or yours?
That's yours.
Yeah, I know. You want me to? I'm gonna hang up and try to get back in.
All right. Yeah, man. Cam had a great day. There's a photo of him hurdling a couple players. I'm gonna see if I can pull that photo up. Yo, what's going on, boss? You saying something? Cause we can't hear you. We can't hear you at all right now, boss. I don't know if your mic's turned on. And Cuban Kane, most of the time you gotta check out the Facebook page and have to see this time around it's kind of hard to get information on the Hurricanes other than what the media gives you because a lot of people are not allowed to. Your mic's on, bros? Now you talking, but we can't hear you. Whatever you change, just change it back. We'll deal with the echo. Yeah, right now we can't hear you. We're not getting no audio. Yeah, Cuban Kane. If you go on Facebook, it's you can check out the fan page. I think it's like 40,000, 45,000 Hurricane fans on that channel. So a lot of news and a lot of updates and stuff get posted on there. And you can always check out the guys at 247 Sports. And I wouldn't recommend ESPN because half the time they don't know shit. Yeah, but get down. We can't hear you at all, man. There's no audio. And right now you're frozen. You laughing for 863. Let me put it back. Let me put the link back in the chat. Mr. Jax, talking too much, bro. That link is right there in the chat.
It's magic.
Yo, can you hear me, bro?
Yeah, we can hear you.
All right, appreciate it, man. Sorry about the technical difficulties.
You good? How you? Did you see all the stats and everything about the players?
You know what I did, and you know what I personally like scrimmages like this where the defense dominate everything. That's what you want. You want to be you want your defense to be ahead of your offense right now because everybody that's out there right now in our conference, and we're gonna start at the top. We're gonna start with Clemson. We got to be able to stop people. So if we can disrupt and dominate everything we got going on in-house, that means, hey, that's what we want to be, T2Y. So to me, I want to hear a scrimmage like this. I don't want no scrimmage. I don't want every scrimmage where the offense will score 5 or 6 times and we can't stop them. We got to be able to be disruptive, be our ones going against our ones, got to be totally competitive, our tools going against our tools. Then we can close the gap realistically on Clemson, man. Because everybody else, we ain't worried about them. Our measuring stick gonna be the Clemson Tigers, bro.
Yeah, I feel the same way on that one. I feel like we'll beat everybody else. You know, might be some dog fights here and there, but we'll beat them. I think Clemson will be the one that, really set the tone.
Right. Because Clemson got a championship brand right now. And that's what we after. We want our championship brand back. So I like having our new offensive coordinator. He gonna change a whole lot of stuff, man. We gonna look a whole lot different. He got a lot of toys and weapons to use, man, and I'm excited about that. I don't really feel comfortable with Blake Baker. I think that position too big for him, and I wish Manny would just take it over and let the guy go. But Manny liked the guy, so maybe year 2 we'll see a better defensive scheme coming from Blake Baker.
Yeah, like I said, it's good that if the defense do have some hiccups, Manny can step in because
Right.
Manny was once in that position and he run a great defense. So
Right.
it's good to know that we got a defensive mind coach that if it get rough on that defensive side, he could tell Blake, hey, step aside real quick and let me do something.
Hey, man, listen. Yeah, great point. And see, my point exactly. That's what I was thinking about. But man, listen, I wanted to chime in between getting ready to cook Sunday dinner for me and my family and all of that, man. I love your show. I love your brand. I had a couple of clowns responding to my comments about hit the nose on the head. To me, bro, listen, even if I gotta help fund that, I want a whole line of shirts that say hit the nose on the head. Every time we play anybody, all we thinking about is hitting the nose on their head. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Hammer game.
I got a guy designing it where he gonna be hitting that nose on the head for real.
Hey, now watch this.
Gonna be putting a nail through the head of that Florida State fan. I got him doing it to the Gators too. So when he finishes making them, I'm gonna put him out.
Listen, I just want you to remember one thing. Remember the guy that told you, man, switch the game like that. But man, you got a great brand, a great slogan. I love it. And guess what? I'm all the way down here in Tallahassee, Florida, baby. I'm holding it down. I ain't down south. I'm an up north king since 1983, baby.
So you gotta deal with them Tallahassee.
No, they got to deal with me, bro. I'm one of the original Hurricanes since 1983 T2Y. So guess what? They got to deal with me. Cause that's all I know is just you. This all I know, baby.
Yes,
it's been good to me.
Yeah, man. That's why I tell these guys, man. That's why when they got it tatted.
There you go. I see you.
It's hard to put it on camera.
I see it.
The camera angle kind of sucks.
Yeah, I see it, bro. You good.
Yeah,
yes,
man.
Sir. I see you.
They got Slim Shady came with the $10 donation. A lot of people want Manny to take over the D, but complain about Mark Rick's running the whole. But Mark Rick's offense was so predictable. And it was like I don't know if you guys ever seen Coach Coop did that rap song, run, pass, punt. That was pretty much Mark Rick's run, pass, punt.
Yeah.
So he said, why do people want Manny to take over the D but complain about Mark Rick's? But
you know what? Can I answer that?
Head coach don't need a coordinator. He need to worry about the big picture.
Can I answer that?
Go ahead.
The reason why we want Manny to take over 2017, whoever that Kane fan is, can you remember when he was running the defense? And our defense the previous year was garbage. And our defense came over, man, and you start hearing about the Joe Jacksons of the world and all those guys coming in, man, and we was McIntosh, we was a force to be reckoned with. Blake Baker, this position and this defense is too much for him. Coming from La Tech, he don't know the personnel, or he didn't show it last year. North Carolina, 4th down and everything, and you give up a 4th and everything against North Carolina, against the Florida Gators. We should have won the game if he would have been more sound with the defense. He wasn't even playing Greg Russo. Had that guy third string behind patching, and he just stumbled up and started playing him. So that's why I want Manny Diaz calling all the signals, calling all the defensive plays, because he know that's his baby. He built the baby since 2017. It ain't got nothing to do with Mark Rick.
Yeah, so, man. Like I said, man, we know what Manny is capable of. So when the defense is in trouble, we as fans, we have no problem with him stepping in. I mean,
Right.
offensive wise, we do want him to leave Reed Lashley alone. Let him run his offense.
Oh yeah, leave him alone.
Because
Hey, hey, hey.
Manny's not an offensive guy.
Yeah, leave him alone. Let him do his thing.
I think a lot of people complained about Ricks though. Like I said, Ricks was a run pass guy. So
Man,
defensive coordinators didn't have to put in too much work to stop him.
hey, T2, my 6-year-old daughter used to predict Mark Rick offensive plays, bro. So if she could predict it, this is a whole nother entity, what we talking about. I'm talking about the defensive side. With all the lights and all them animals we had over there last year, that defense should have been way better than what it was. You had Jonathan Garvin, all those guys over there. Should have been a mean rotation, man. And then not only that, sometimes it comes down to scheme. The North Carolina game, 4th and everything, and you let them guys get 4th and everything on a conference game on the road, and we could have been 1-0. That was real. That showed me right then he didn't know what he was doing. It should have showed the whole Cane Nation from the great defenses that I've seen since 1983. I can't accept that from Blake Baker. I just can't.
What did I say? I remember one scrimmage down in Dade County where Dan Eno sent the receiver in motion, and we got happy. It was terrible.
Okay.
Last season, man, I was begging for Dan Enos to get out of there. That bowl game, he should have not called that game.
Hey, man, listen, bro. After the Florida game, I want to choke Dan Enos. I mean, through the phone. I mean, not literally, but I'm saying the way he called that game against Florida and allow those guys to sight the quarterback 11 times, don't bring in a tight end to chip this in or run at the guy. He can't pass rush and stop the run. So it's so much you could have did after halftime to protect Williams. And then not only that, you could have went with Nikizo Perry. Perry, because Williams started holding the ball too long. But the Florida game showed me Dan Enos ain't know what he was doing. The North Carolina game showed me Blake Baker didn't know what he was doing. So, and then the Georgia Tech loss showed me none of the coaches know what they was doing. So, listen, man.
I knew he was in trouble last season when Central Michigan came to town, and we only put up 17 points on them.
Oh, my God.
And not only that, I watched Central Michigan's go get beat by everybody else, and they got pulled out. So that's when I knew our offense was going to be terrible, man. And I kept praying for the season.
Hey, that's when I started saying, oh, my God. I started praying for the Hurricanes. Man, guess what?
You see the Louisville game when they went away from that, offense and played that spread. And you see how we blew out Louisville, and then we go back to the same stuff. I'm like, what is y'all doing, man? Y'all not see that what's working? Why y'all stop doing what's working?
You know what that was? They didn't know what they was doing, and they didn't believe in what they was doing. So
that Louisville game, they stumbled upon goal. And it's like they just stop right there. They're like, all right, we're not gonna do that again. Like what?
Wow, man. But hey, man, great show, man. Like I say, man, I was in the midst of doing a million things. I was on a prayer call and I was getting ready to cook dinner and I saw you on. So, man, listen, hey, I've been a part of this since 1983. I love your show, man. I love what you're doing. And man, listen, I was gonna chime in Friday night, man, but I don't like to talk like that over the air, and I ain't gonna let that clown take me to that. I think you know who I'm talking about. That's the only reason why I don't chime in, because that ain't who I am at 49 years old. I ain't gonna disrespect no man, and I ain't trying to get into all of that, man. I got I ain't into that. That ain't what this is about.
His problem is right now they doing so horrible that he ain't really got much to defend himself with. So he tend to go to the other tacticals. Because right now, everybody knows FSU is doing terrible. It's all in the news. But what he kind of turned me off a little bit when he was talking about the corona thing. And how the players basically want to test positive, but they don't want to tell all the players who has it and who don't. So
Right.
if you tell me, and I'm hanging around the guy, and we talking and we buddy all the time and stuff, I might end up catching it. I might bring it to the next teammate, and it's
Right.
all over the place.
Right. See,
I agree with not telling the media who has it and who don't. But you got to
right.
tell your players and you got to tell your staff.
In house, you got to. Yeah. Well, see, that's the second situation that they had with that coach up there. You know, first the Black Lives Matter situation really exposed who he was. Now you got that coming up.
Right.
Oh man, I got a video call coming in, man. Golly. Hey
Oh,
man.
well, take it easy, boss.
You too, man. You know, we'll be in touch.
All right, boss.
All right.
All right, the floor is open. Once again, I'm gonna put the link in the chat. Anybody wants to come in, give their opinions. The floor is all yours. Hold on, let me put Mr. Jackson time out again because he's talking straight nonsense again. Yeah, well, like I said, the floor is open. If anybody want to come in, give their opinions on the scrimmage or anything that's going on at Miami. Floor is open. If not, we're gonna wrap the show up. Hey, thank you, Get Down, for coming in, man. Really appreciate that. He said the Louisville game was Darren Enos. It was just the worst defense we played all year. Well, I hope Louisville come with that same defense this year. Yeah. Yeah, guys, but like I said, the link is in the chat, man. Anybody want to come in, they can. If not, we're gonna wrap the show up. It's I give you guys like a minute or so. If not, I'm gonna wrap it up. Oh yeah, Slim Shady came for the $10 donation. That's a touchdown for the channel. I forgot to give it to you. I don't even want to think about that, man. Said T2Y, what if we lose? I'm guessing that said the first three and win against Clemson. Would you be satisfied? No, I would not be satisfied. If we lose the first three games, that means we lost to Florida State, Louisville, and we lost to UAB. I would not be satisfied, even if we beat Clemson. I'd rather beat all of those guys and lose to Clemson than to lose all three of those guys and beat Clemson. Because that'll just go to show you that, hey, one, Clemson either digressed, or two, Miami is basically playing down the competition again. Because if Clemson is the bar that being set that we need to beat, that's the highest on our schedule, and we can't beat them, but we'll beat the if we're beating them, but we're losing to the smaller teams, the ones that basically we're gonna play down to. That'll be terrible, bro. I'd rather us beat those teams and lose to Clemson than the other way around. Definitely don't want to hear Florida State mouth. Hold on, we got Slim Shady in the back. Yo, what's going on, Slim?
What's going on, boss man?
All right, man. How you feeling about the scrimmage? Have you checked any stats or heard anything about it?
I sat there and watched the what Manny had to say when you played it a few minutes ago, but I got off work late last night, so I ain't had a chance to catch up with much.
Okay. Yeah, man. The defense stepped it up a little bit better this week than last week. as you know, last week the offense was scoring at will. So defense stepped up a little bit. They had 2 interception, forced fumble recovery, sacks, you name it, tackles. What's his name? Brian Bullam showed out. He basically was the star on the defensive side. He's a safety. But other than that, Brevin Jordan had 4 catches. The yardage they have not put out. Xavier Respo, they starting to say that he's looking like a Braxton Berrios type of wide receiver, but he has the potential to be maybe even 10 times better than Braxton Berrios was. So should be interested to see what he look like in the future. And Cam Harris, 13 rushes, 77 yards. He was accountable for 3 touchdowns, two on the passing and 1 on the rushing. But that pretty much wrapped up what it was in the scrimmage. Well, all the information that they gave us.
Well, I think the more you see this defense play against the offense, you're going to see them get better at it. Obviously, I don't completely disagree with what he said about Blake Baker, but I think he can be fine this year. I think people are a little too quick to try and say Blake Baker can't do the job, after his first year at a Power 5 school.
Right. Like I said, to me, Blake Baker, I give him all the credit he needs, but I also see Manny as a backup.
Well, my whole point behind that was right there at the end. I don't think any head coach should be a coordinator. I mean, even your best ones, Nick Saban was a hell of a defensive coordinator. He steps back, he lets his defensive coordinator do his job. I think you run in. There's too many examples of too many coaches having problems when they try and be a coordinator and the head coach. I mean, you saw Willie Taggart his first year at FSU.
Right.
So I would rather him, give Blake a chance to settle into the job. I mean, they were still a top 15 defense last year, 12, 13, somewhere in there.
Yeah, I think it was 13.
After everything we lost. Considering everything we lost, Jaquan Johnson, Red Wine, Gerald Willis, I ain't mad about it. I think it was just. I mean, it happens to great defenses every few years. I mean, look at Alabama's last year; it was down compared to what it usually is. They had a lot of players that were out. They were playing a lot of freshmen because of injuries. You don't have a top defense every single year. So I think they're probably going to be fine this year. I think he does need to step up on his third down play calling. I wasn't a big fan of that, but I think that may actually come from Manny, because as good as he was, not taking anything away from him, Romeo Finley was not the right person to play that striker position, because when he's having to drop into coverage, he's usually having to cover a slot receiver. Romeo Finley's just too big to keep up with a slot receiver.
Right. I mean, a lot of those games Romeo did, he was playing chaser.
Yeah. And I mean, like I said, it's nothing against Romeo. He's just too big to keep up with a slot receiver. I mean, some things you just can't do. Now, I think, my personal opinion, I would kind of get away from that and go back to what they did in 2016 and 2017, more of aggressive, just 4-3 instead of this, 4-2-5 with the striker that they're trying to run. But that's just my personal preference. That's the kind of defense I've always preferred.
Yeah, right now with the striker, they're gonna run that. But I think if it shows in the beginning that it doesn't work, then they'll probably adjust and probably switch back to the 4-3. But if not, then we'll have that position going for a while, especially if it's working.
And I mean, if it's working, there's no reason not to. I think it possibly can. Well, I mean, it goes back to what I said about Romeo. You got to find the right person to do it. And I think we have more than a few extra safeties. I think I'd like to see a safety try at that position.
Right. I mean,
somebody who's got the speed to keep up with a wide receiver.
yeah, who would you rather put in there? Because I'll probably say Christian Williams. Christian Williams, he's tremendous. He got tremendous speed. I think he'll be able to, he could tackle and everything. He was an all around athlete. So I think he could hold down that position. But other than him, who would you rather put in there?
I mean, him if he's not really just neck and neck with DJ Ivy for that other corner spot. Because I mean, yeah, there were some games where DJ Ivy shined, but there were some games where DJ Ivy had his head stuck up his ass too.
Yeah, I think with
So,
that
I mean,
him and DJ Ivy, that's gonna be a competition to look at. But we also got to look too that Avante Williams not playing this year, so in the safety we just lost a little bit of depth. So Christian could be either going towards maybe cornerback or safety. But if that striker position is open, I think he fits. I think he fits there probably more than half the other guys.
I don't disagree with that at all. I think the battle for the starting safety is going to be tight too. So whoever isn't one of the two starting safeties could fit right in there as well. So I think that could be a battle between Christian Williams and whoever isn't one of the starting safeties, because we've still got, even with Avante Williams being out, we've still got 4 or 5 safeties back there.
Yeah, that's one position that we do got a little bit of depth. Plus, not to mention the next coming classes and stuff, we pick up more, so we should be good in that position. I say for the next couple of years, as long as we keep recruiting safeties at the rate that we are. I do think that Ed Reed has a lot to do with that, because we are getting a lot of great safeties to actually wanting to stay here.
Wouldn't surprise me in the least bit if he has almost everything to do with it.
Right.
I mean, it's Ed Reed. I mean, it is what it is.
Somebody said, imagine.
As far as the offense,
Somebody said, imagine 2021, we have a tenure of Avante Williams and James Williams, basically in that position for the next 3 years. That'll be great, because both of those guys, I think, will be shut down. That whole area of the field will be shut down.
well, as long as we can keep that 2021 class together too. I mean, let's be honest.
I hope the Avante Williams situation, I hope everything's all right by next season too, because he got a chronic illness going on. So hopefully by next season he'll be on top of everything.
They've been kind of tight-lipped about that too, and my opinion on it is he may have had some kind of neck injury from high school, and they're just gonna take. I think they're gonna try and be safe rather than sorry, because of what's happened in the last few years with Ahmad Richards and with Malik Young.
Yeah, and a lot of the fans was asking too. They was like, they hope that the Avante Williams situation don't turn into one of those Lorenzo Lingard kind of situations either. Hopefully, if he does recover by next season, and if he's ready to go and stuff like that, don't hold him back.
Well, I don't think Lorenzo Lingard was ready to go last year.
A lot of us didn't, but he was begging to play, so hopefully, it don't turn out like that.
And I get that, and a lot of that noise didn't even really start from Lorenzo Lingard. It started from his dad.
Yeah.
And I mean, that's just one of those. It is what it is. It's kind of just how college football is these days. Guys are more apt to transfer than they used to be. I mean, you see it with Alabama every year with all these classes they pull in. They have all kinds of guys transfer out because they just think they're ready to play. And I mean, be honest with you, I think they should take Alabama's defense last year, as kind of an example, it was nowhere near what we're used to seeing out of Alabama for the last decade. And you saw it because they had a lot of injuries, so they were starting a lot of underclassmen. So
Bradley said we need another Williams at cornerback, and basically all those back positions will be full with Williams.
I swear, right?
Yeah, I don't know what's going on with the last name Williams, but they're starting to create some great DBs.
Well, then you have that one O lineman that transferred in with King from Houston. Wasn't his last name Williams too?
Yeah, Jared Williams.
Yeah.
Well, at least we got rid of Jaron Williams. I don't think we got rid of. He got rid of himself.
I mean, it's Jaron's own fault. I mean, you kind of saw it. That's why he ended up at that community college.
Oh yeah, let me ask you this question. That I was asked earlier. We lose the first 3 games, but we beat Clemson. How you feel about that?
Well, number one, I highly doubt that would happen because what's our first 3 games? I know it's UAB. I can't remember the other 2.
Louisville and Florida State.
I highly doubt that we would lose to those 3 teams and then beat Clemson. Now, granted, they call them upsets for a reason. Upsets happen. I get it. So they got a puncher's chance at beating Clemson. I still say, regardless, I've been watching this team for 33 years now. They go in there and they take Florida State lightly. I don't care what kind of shape Florida State's in; they can beat us.
Yeah,
that's one of that. I mean, that's one of those. Yeah, look at Florida State at their peak when they just had old crab legs and Jimbo was still there. I mean, they only beat us by 1 this last year. So I mean, it just really does not matter which team is up or down. That's going to be a hell of a game regardless.
All right. Yeah, like I said, I don't think we should take any team lightly. None whatsoever. Not even UAB. I mean, granted that UAB's running back just opted out. He's not playing. I still don't think we take nobody lightly. I think we take every game, go out there, give 100% each game. Don't play down the competition. Because right now, we could look at Florida State and say we're in way better shape than they are, but they're going to go out there and play like they're better than us anyway.
Well, we're in better shape, yes, but if you just go by recruiting, they're a more talented team than we are.
Right. Yeah, because they recruited this year. This year they're recruiting looking bad, but for the past couple of years they had some better recruits than us. And they're
still going off the
top players. Yeah, their top players are starting to become starters now.
Yeah,
they're picking up experience, and a lot of the experts, like I think you were about to say, a lot of the experts are still predicting them to beat us because of the talent that they got over us. It's just not properly coached.
And I still think I still think we'll win that game because I mean that we pretty much cruised in that game last year. That game was never really in doubt. I would like to have seen a larger margin of victory. Obviously, who doesn't? But I mean, 28-10, that game was never really in doubt.
Right.
Now, Louisville, I think it's going to be tougher than it was last year because we're obviously have to go to Louisville. But their defense isn't going to be drastically improved. It may be better, but it's not going to be drastically better, I don't think.
Yeah, I think this year too, we could rule out the aspect of home field advantage. Because I mean, even if I know that Georgia Tech is allowing 11,000 fans. Put all those fans around the stadium, the noise level is not going to be there. The energy that you probably would feed off is not going to be there. So we could take away a little bit from the home field advantage.
A little bit. I mean, you still have it. You still have the disadvantage of one team having to travel.
Right.
You know, as compared to the other teams, obviously being at home, not having to travel, not having that lag on them. But I think you're right. I think, you know, for the most part, home field advantage is going to be pretty much neutralized.
Yeah.
But I mean, you know, don't forget that what was that kid from Louisville? Juju Atwell. I mean, ran all over us last year.
Right. I mean, a lot of our run stop defense didn't pinned out too well last season.
Well,
There's
he
a lot
wasn't
of those running
necessarily.
back.
It wasn't necessarily run stop with him. He was catching them out of the backfield in open space, you know, matched up against a linebacker. And, you know, for all the criticisms a lot of people gave Shaq and Fink last year, no, they're not the fastest players in the world, but neither is Ray Lewis. But it's really hard to find a play that Shaq wasn't in on. And, okay, they're not the fastest in the world. So when you drop them into coverage, you're kind of putting them in a disadvantage situation. And I'm going into it, so that's why I'm willing to give them, you know, a little bit of credit there.
Right.
But I mean, it got the.
Hold on, let me put the link back in the chat. Okay, there you go. You still here, Slim?
Easily back in the top 10 this year, maybe the top 5 if they can play good enough. You know, depending on their showing against Clemson. I mean, that's a good way for that defense to be considered a top 5 defense in the country.
You starting to fade out, Slim. Well, I'm gonna put the link back in the chat. You faded out a little bit. I'm not. You're frozen or you're not on at all.
That better?
Yeah, I can hear you. Your symbol is not even up on the screen right now. It's just all black.
I had my phone sitting on the hood of my truck. It got hot.
Okay. Yeah, well, we could hear you though.
I got you. Now, I agree with that comment you got up on the screen now about inconsistent quarterback play. I mean, to be honest with you, that's kind of the story of Miami since they joined the ACC.
Speaking of that, De'Aaron King, like, let's say he don't have the greatest season this season. You know, let's say we finish maybe eight and something or whatever, 8-3 or something like that. Next season he'll be eligible to come back. Well, do you think that's an option that he would actually, take?
I think it would all depend on where they're saying he would go in the draft.
Yeah, because I know right now most of the scouts that's been talking about De'Aaron King have been looking for him more of a slot receiver than an actual quarterback. They've been saying that he got the athletic abilities to make plays after catching the ball or having the ball in his hand more than throwing. And in a recent interview too, he did say that he wants the quarterback, and I think right now it's a chip on his shoulder.
Well, I think the big knock against De'Aaron King playing at quarterback for as good of a season as he had in 2018, they were still only the 3rd or 4th best team in that conference. I mean, they were 8-5 that year, so they didn't have the greatest record. And they got beat by. I know Memphis and UCF were the top 2 teams in that conference that year, and that's kind of part of the reason I still have questions about De'Aaron King, and I've had questions about him all along because, as good as he was, it's not a Power 5 conference. You know, all the teams in those conference are beating each other, 60 to 65. So I mean, it's a conference full of high scoring offenses. And then as good as his stat sheet was for 2018, like I said, you're talking the third or fourth best team in the conference.
Right.
So not saying he can't do it, but it's what gives me questions about him.
Yeah, someone said those long developing plays didn't do any favors for the old line either. Yeah, he said if De'Aaron King comes back, I think Perry will leave, which I see that happening too because next season is supposed to be Perry's year. I mean, granted that he do get another year of eligibility, I don't think he will sit behind De'Aaron King 2 years in a row.
I don't think he will either. I'll be perfectly honest with you. I'm surprised he didn't transfer out when they brought in De'Aaron King.
Yeah, see, that's why I wasn't really surprised with Jaron when Jaron transferred. Jaron basically told him last season that if he weren't starting, he was going to transfer. So when them bringing in De'Aaron King, him transferring was no surprise. But seeing Perry stay, but if King decided to come back next season, I don't see Perry staying. I think he'd transfer somewhere where he could go ahead and start and probably make a tape for himself.
Now, I'll say this. One thing I'm a little disappointed in was the fact that they just handed De'Aaron King the starting position. Because, I mean, this offense is also kind of tailor-made for, Perry's skill set and Tate Martell's skill set. So I really think the three of them could have pushed each other if you had taken the time to have a real quarterback competition between the three of them.
Yeah, I think right now the problem with Tate is his accuracy. I think that's what give Perry a little bit edge over him, especially with let's say next season De'Aaron King does not come back. I think that's basically Tate and Perry's last go at it. So I think I give Perry the edge just because I see Tate don't really have the accuracy.
I mean, based off of last year, I would agree with you, but I don't know what Tate looks like today.
Right.
I mean, that could have been something he improved on. I don't know. I mean, based off of what I've seen so far, yes, I would agree with you. But I mean, for all we know, that could have changed, and that's why I was, a fan of having an open quarterback competition about it.
Right. Even the scrimmage, we know that two interceptions were thrown. Now they said that De'Aaron King did not throw an interception. So they did say 4 quarterbacks played. So, 3 of those quarterbacks out of the 3, I'm gonna guess that it was Perry, Tyler Van Dyke, and Tate that, got some snaps. But two interceptions was thrown. Now they're not saying was it thrown by one guy, was it thrown by, 2 out of the 3, but 2 was thrown, and right now we don't have information who did. But I think last scrimmage, 1 interception was thrown, and I think they was hinting at Tyler Van Dyke.
Well, it wouldn't surprise me if it was Perry either. I mean, and we've seen it out of the way Perry plays. He's gonna take risks with the ball, and I don't have a problem with that at all.
Yeah, I like it. He'll throw it downfield with no problem.
He reminds me of having almost like a Brett Favre type mentality. He'll push the boundaries to try and make a play.
Right.
And I don't have a problem with that. I mean, you have to, the people that don't take risks don't win.
D Nice say Slim, the offense wasn't the problem at Houston. If we get 70% of King's output, the offense should be better.
I'm not saying it won't be. And I'm not even saying the offense was the problem at Houston. But the defense was the problem at Houston, but the defense is the problem for every team in that conference. I mean, I watched the AAC championship game between Memphis and UCF, and they literally, I think UCF literally won it like 60 to 65. Now, nobody there has a defense. It's a non-Power 5 version of the Big 12. Everybody's running up scores on each other.
Yeah, say King King can make something happen with his feet. Unlike Williams, he is mobile. True. Cynthia just said, no, not Cynthia. I'm sorry. Kane's Cowboy said heard Van Dyke was 5 for 6, 205, 1 touchdown and 1 interception. So okay, so if that's information that they put out at this moment, then that means one of those interceptions was by Tyler Van Dyke. But if you look at his stats, though, 5 for 6 for 200 and a touchdown, that's pretty good.
That is.
So that means the other interception would maybe come from Perry or Tate.
Yeah, and out of the two, I mean, neither one would surprise me. So, I mean, flip a coin to pick which one it's going to be.
Bradley said one thing I like is Perry's attitude after he would make a mistake. Yeah, Perry make mistakes, but he pretty much collects himself and try to go back out there and do better. You know what I mean? But like we've been seeing, it's a lot of inconsistencies. We can't go around that.
And I mean, that is the one knock you can put on Perry is that he is inconsistent. I'm trying to think what game it was. I think it was the Pitt game last year. I mean, he just could not get a thing going.
All right.
And then Jaron come in at the end and hit KJ Osborne for that touchdown to win the game. And I was a big Perry fan. A lot of people knew it. I was a big Perry fan. But he's also, if you want to be the starting quarterback, you've got to make the most of the opportunities you're given.
And it's like I said, it's gonna be tough next season, man. Especially if a lot of these players do decide to come back because they got their free eligibility. It's gonna be crazy to see how much recruits we got coming in because you could have teams going from having 85 players on to like 100 and something. So it's gonna be tough. It's gonna be a lot of competition. I won't be surprised if a lot of guys end up transferring too. But
I think that would go for any school.
Yeah, I think for us having all that depth and all that competition, I think we'd end up building the best team that we could. But like I said, a lot of players probably would transfer and get up out of there to go somewhere else to probably get some play time. How you feeling about the Big Ten telling those guys that like even Justin Fields and all of them to cut out all the positions and stuff? They're not changing their mind.
I heard somebody talking about, I don't remember who it was, floating around the idea of, some of those schools, if they wanted to, doing like Notre Dame did and trying to pick up a conference schedule with somebody else. They want to play. I think they should.
Yeah, I definitely think they should play too. I mean, if they could build a schedule somewhere, then that'll be good. But I mean, as of like conference wise, I don't think any conference would actually like let them in right now.
I mean, I wouldn't have thought the ACC would have done what they did with Notre Dame, but they did. So, I mean, my whole problem with people's arguments against it is, and to some extent it's right, but here's where I'll say it's wrong. Too many people have the idea of these players being kids, but at the end of the day, even the freshmen are 18 years old.
Right.
These are adults that can make their own decisions.
Let me ask you, if all those guys in those Big Ten and Pac-12 decide that they want to transfer, should the NCAA give them waivers right now to even play in the fall? If any of these schools were to, let's say, pick up some of those players.
I don't think they would consider playing him.
Go back to your room. Go back to your room.
Yeah, Red said that was going against their conference. Notre Dame. Notre Dame doesn't have a conference.
Well, and I get that, I do, but I think if they were wanting to transfer somewhere to play because the Big Ten's not playing, for instance, I think they waited too long, and maybe the Big Ten did that on purpose to keep anybody from transferring out. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, half of those players in the Big Ten, they're gonna go. They're gonna opt to go to the draft anyway, so they're gonna lose a lot of those guys. And on top of
And
that,
that
the players that do decide that they're gonna play in the springs, if they do play in the spring, which I don't think will happen, then they might lose the option of going to the NFL, going into the draft, or even risk being injured around that time.
and a lot of them I don't think will take that risk. Um, and that's what I really don't like about it is, yeah, I'm a fan of college football in general. I'll watch a lot more than just Miami games, but I am a Miami fan. I think it is a shame that we probably won't ever see Justin Fields play in another college football game because he is a hell of a player.
Right.
And he's not the only one, but that's just the biggest name I could think of off the top of my head, and there are lots of others, and we probably won't because Justin Fields, I mean, let's be honest, is going to be the second quarterback taken in the draft.
Yeah, I think Trevor Lawrence goes first, goes second.
Yeah, and that's like if the ACC had decided not to play, we wouldn't have seen Trevor Lawrence play again.
Yeah.
And yeah, we got to play against him, but he's a hell of a player. He's fun to watch.
Yeah, I mean, when we're not playing him, which pretty much ain't all the time anyway. I like seeing him play. I like what he did against Ohio State.
Yeah.
I see how he, when it looked like everything was said and done, he basically stepped up and gave Clemson a whole nother life.
He did. And
But he's just one of those players that's interesting to watch. Like, I mean, college-wise, I didn't care for Jameis Winston, but when he made it to Tampa, watching him, I never rooted against him. You know what I mean?
Well, I'm a Tampa fan, and I rooted against him because I was tired of seeing him. Okay. We had the NFL defensive MVP playing at quarterback. That's not fun to watch.
I mean, it's just like me now. I'm a Lakers fan, and we're playing Portland, but I think we're gonna beat Portland, knock them out the series or whatever. But if Portland were to say upset my Lakers, I would want to see the Portland Trailblazers win the championship, which I probably don't think would happen, but I would like to see it happen because I like to see Carmelo, get a championship. He's just one of those players that I don't really root against. You know what I mean?
I kind of like the Lakers up until they got LeBron, and then I'm just like, okay, well, let them loose. Sorry.
What is up with LeBron, man? Why everybody turned off by LeBron?
He's so full of himself, man. He really is. And I mean, yeah, Jordan was full of himself too, but he wasn't as out front about it as LeBron is. And let's be honest. LeBron wants to be looked at like Michael Jordan is, and he never will be.
Yeah, well, he is in the talks. Nowadays, when you compare LeBron to anybody, Jordan is the only one they're comparing them to.
Well, and see, to me, you really can't because Kobe played more like Jordan than LeBron does.
To me, I think that's why more people compare LeBron to Jordan than Kobe because Kobe was like more of a copy.
I mean, their playing styles were a lot alike. Now, I'll be completely upfront. To me, the biggest problem, and it's really with all of the NBA today, and it's why I hold players like Jordan higher, because that was a lot more physical game back then. You know, I mean, compared to Jordan's day, these players today are pansies.
Hey, John say Winston had 80% completion rate, 40% to his receivers, and 40% to the opposing team DBs.
And he ain't lying. Look at it.
Oh man!
Like, if you take the playoffs out of it, Tampa Bay had the best offense in the NFL last year, except for Jameis Winston. That's the only reason they had the record they did.
Yeah, man.
I mean, Joe throws 33 touchdowns and 30 interceptions. Brett Favre ain't even do that.
Yeah, that's crazy. That's crazy. I've never seen a season where a quarterback done anything that ridiculous. And then went out to say that he pretty much was the best.
Yeah.
Like I don't know how you came to that. I think ESPN even had a whole talk about it where they was like, you know, if Jameis Winston's career were to end right now, where would you place him? Would he be one of the greats? I think somebody said that they would put him in there. It's crazy.
Yeah, world's full of stupid people. I wouldn't put him in there. Good Lord, I'd put Trent Dilfer's time in Tampa Bay ahead of Jameis Winston.
Hey, Redhead K said Winston had no drop ball. Somebody's going to catch it. Oh man!
And I mean, you know, and there's a reason simply off of changing quarterbacks that they're like the second or third highest odds to make it to the Super Bowl, because they know Tom ain't gonna come in there and throw 30 interceptions.
Yeah, I mean, I'm very interested to see what Tom Brady does this season, man. I'm hoping he's successful too. It'll be amazing. It'll be amazing to see him come to Tampa and win a championship. That'll just throw a whole bomb up in New England.
Oh, you'd see Bill Belichick's head explode.
I think he'd go nuts, and then they'll start looking at him like, you know what, Tom wasn't the problem.
Well, you know, a lot of people did like New England because they cheated. They say they cheated doing this, they cheated doing that. Man, go back to the Raiders in the 70s. You want to talk about somebody cheating? If you ain't cheating, you ain't trying.
Yeah, man, it ain't cheating. It's like they said, it ain't cheating until you get caught.
You know, you know, like they made a big deal about the balls being deflated in that Indianapolis game 4 or 5 years ago. Even the Indianapolis players said it wouldn't have made a difference. Did you see how bad they just whooped us?
I mean, if the ball is deflated, isn't it deflated for both sides of both teams anyway?
Yeah, it would be, because those aren't like that isn't like college where everybody brings their own balls to the game. No, those are NFL balls. Somebody else deals with that. All of them are.
I mean, if Brady's dealing with a deflated ball, I'm pretty sure the other quarterback is too. So if Brady don't speak out, the other quarterback had all the time to speak out from the beginning of the game.
Yeah.
So I don't really look at that, man. But it should be interesting to see them this season, to see what Tampa does, to see if Jameis even get any play times at the Saints.
I mean, maybe if Drew Brees goes down.
Yeah,
which can happen.
I think if they do play him while Brees is playing, it's probably more on some option type thing. Some run options. They'll probably run him instead of run Drew Brees. But I think a lot of defense would pick that up naturally. Like, okay, if Drew Brees is not in, Jameis is in. Look out for a run.
Yeah, you will, and that's why, like, a lot of people are high on Lamar Jackson this year in Baltimore. You've seen it time and time again with these running quarterbacks in the NFL. Defenses adjust to them after a year or two. I don't think Lamar Jackson's going to have this big, outstanding breakout season that a lot of people are talking about. I think defenses are going to adjust to him, and I think him and Kyler Murray and even Baker Mayfield to a certain extent, you're starting to see it out of Baker. That running crap don't keep up in the NFL. Defenses are too good, and these
It
little
don't last
quarterbacks.
too long either.
No, I mean you can look at even the best. Even Michael Vick eventually got hurt, but you can even take guys that were built bigger and stronger, like Tebow and Donovan McNabb. They got away from that running crap because it don't last in the NFL with quarterbacks.
Right.
I
Yeah,
mean, there's a
you taking more blows to the body than you would being in the pocket.
there's a reason, after that national title game his freshman year against Alabama, they were already saying Trevor Lawrence was going to be the number 1 overall pick because that's still what every NFL team wants. A 6'5" pocket passer that in this day and age, can get away from pressure if he needs to, but they're not necessarily looking for somebody that's going to take off down the field.
Yeah, they're looking for more of a pocket present first, then a run last.
Yeah, I mean, look at Russell Wilson. They got him away from running. They've really turned him into a pocket passer, and he'll only take off if he just absolutely has to.
Right. I mean, even look at Doc Prescott.
Yeah.
He's more of a pocket present too. Speaking of Doc, do you think they're gonna come up with a deal? I don't know what Jerry and Jones and him got going on. Do you think they're gonna come up with a deal or try to slap him with another franchise?
I think because they picked up Andy Dalton, they'll slap him with the franchise tag again because they'll have somebody else there just in case. I think because of them picking up Andy Dalton, they don't have to give Dak a big contract.
Do you think he's even worth the big contract?
Maybe. I mean, you definitely, when they picked up Amari Carter, or is it Amari Cooper? I can't never remember because I get them confused with that Miami safety. But either way, when they picked up Amari, that you definitely saw Dallas's offense get better because they had more than just Zeke.
Right.
But I think the problem's going to be is they gave Zeke and Amari those big contracts. I don't think they can afford
I think that's what Doc's looking at too. Like, hey, you pay these other guys, what am I, chopped liver? Am I not worth the money? I think looking at Patrick Malone too. Patrick Malone deal just set it off for all the quarterbacks around. Not saying that Zeke, not saying that Doc deserves what Patrick Malone did. I mean, Patrick Malone just came off a Super Bowl. But
well, they better watch out for Patrick Mahomes because what happens literally to all these quarterbacks coming off a Super Bowl to get a big contract, you don't see nothing out of them the next year.
Yeah, and the thing with Patrick Malone too, he didn't take a guaranteed, like a huge guarantee. I think it's like 13% or something like that.
I mean, the guarantee on that contract is still massive.
Yeah, I mean, but if you look at him from a team, he's a team player because that's why he didn't take that much guarantee. He wants to be able to have tools around him to basically, have the team looking good all the time and being able to compete. Most of the time when quarterbacks or guys win Super Bowls after that, they look more towards their money than, trying to build more towards the future, other than Tom Brady.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I'd say Patrick Mahomes guaranteed is still. I think his guaranteed is still like $60 or $70 million, but isn't it like a 10-year contract?
Yeah, I think it's like 10-year, almost half a bill.
Yeah, and I realize a lot of it weren't. Now, me personally, that I saw the interview with Mahomes after he signed that contract and he was talking about it. I never would have signed it.
I wouldn't have signed it.
I mean, based off that contract, that man can't do nothing but sit in his house and play video games and go to the practice facility. That's literally all he can do. I mean, they even put in
Yeah,
that contract. He's not allowed to play a pickup basketball game.
yeah, they're trying to make sure that he's secure. You know, he don't go out and have no kind of risk at injury at all. They basically own him right now.
Yeah. Now here's the problem though, and I watched that Super Bowl against San Francisco. If they had played a team with a defense that was just as good and even a mediocre offense, the Chiefs would have lost that game. I mean, the only reason Chiefs won that game is because literally San Francisco went through the playoffs passing the ball like 6 times a game.
All right, so we got a comment here from Anna. Anna said the Canes made big issues with Tate Martell last year. Now it's King. So will this be another letdown season? Laugh out loud. Actions against another opponent speaks louder than scrimmages. I mean, right now, I agree with what you're saying, but at the same time, we can only be hype off what we see. Now, when it comes to playtime and stuff like that, game time, if what King is doing in scrimmages and stuff, if it shows on the field, then great. But if it don't, then that's a problem we're gonna have to deal with in the future. But as of right now, we can only go off what we see.
And that's that comment is exactly why I have questions about King. That and I mean, let's be honest. They've had the best team in the Coastal Division since 2004, and they've won it twice.
Right.
So they have consistently played down to their competition. And this isn't going at any particular person, but this is the problem with every single year when we as a fan base start talking about, well, the only game I see them losing is maybe Clemson, and then they lose more than that. That's why we're ready to run coaches off every year. I think everybody can acknowledge that the reason Clemson got to where they are is because they gave Dabo the time to do it. And let's not forget, they gave Dabo the time to do it with basically the same amount of talent that we have now. When they won that first championship with Deshaun Watson, they were averaging the 15th ranked class in the country.
Right. I think with Manny this season, I mean he got something to prove, but I think Manny's best season is probably next year, because then he'll have something to build off. The first 2 seasons, I'm not really holding too much against him, even though some of the losses that we took, I've been pretty pissed, especially FIU. I mean, but I think right now, next season is what we really should be judging Manny off, not really necessarily this one.
And I agree with you, but even if next year, say they lose 3 games, okay, because before we had all these websites we're looking at, before we had social media, before we had everybody on YouTube in 1990, 97 and 98, Miami Hurricanes fan base was pretty adamant about getting Butch Davis the hell out of Miami.
All right. Hold on one second, Phil. One Dub said, yo, what's poppin', T2? Where can I watch scrimmage tape? Right now, there's no scrimmage tape out. Most of the scrimmages, only thing you'll see is like a little highlight here or there, maybe a 2 minute highlight. But they're not filming the scrimmage to put them out there. Right now, they're basically not going to give our opponent anything. And right now, normally those scrimmages would be probably videoed and put out by fans, which right now fans are not even allowed to be there. So right now, footage for the scrimmage is basically the small highlights that they would give you. But right now, they're not putting out any film. You go ahead, Snow.
Yeah, which I think sucks. I'd like to definitely see more than just the highlights they put out.
Right.
But
I'd love to see the whole thing.
Yeah.
Trust me,
You
if it
know,
was up to me, if it was up to me, I'd go down there and fly a drone over the top of it and just record everything.
yeah.
But
I
to get my ass arrested.
my biggest thing is I think as a fan base we need to chill out on trying to run everybody out. Because listen, it given another year or two of offensive line development, because it does take a good offensive line to run that system. Dan Enos' offense would have been fine. It's just that offensive line was so bad last year that it kept a lot from working out. And I mean, okay, you want to change offensive coordinators? I know a lot of people prefer a spread system. Just my personal opinion, I prefer a multiple system like what he runs. Because I mean, it's the same thing Alabama runs, same thing Clemson runs. You know, they do a lot of, sometimes 4 and 5 wide. They do a lot of bunch sets too, especially Alabama, because they still like to rely on their running backs. They like big power backs to wear a defense down.
Saw G.A. Kane say, we're going to have a monster season. Everyone should relax and have a cold beer. It works for me.
I hope so. I really do.
Yeah, I hope
And
so too, man.
my big thing, if you do what you should do, play up to your competition, except for Clemson and Florida State, you should easily run through this season. Should.
Yeah, definitely. Like I've been telling everybody, I'm gonna take North Carolina off of the list of games that we should have like really be worried about because they just got 4 players to opt out. They're not even gonna play this season. So that their team is taking a hit already because it's not just some players that didn't make a difference. These are some different makers.
Well, and it's not just that. North Carolina was getting a lot of hype. I don't understand why Sam Howell was getting hype. I mean, their record was the exact same as ours. They were 6-16. They were getting more hype based off of Mac Brown.
Even John Michaels last night on Hurricane Zoe show, he was like, man, because I asked him what his take on the North Carolina hype. He was like, fuck them. They all built the hype. We're gonna beat them by 3-4 touchdowns.
Yeah. Well, and here's another reason they're getting hype. And right now, this is going to count for us too. Being in the top 10 in recruiting in August doesn't mean a damn thing. It means absolutely nothing. So North Carolina is gaining a lot of hype because they have, last time I looked at it, I think the number 2 class in the country, but they were already peaked out with the number of players they can bring in. They'll barely be in the top 25 by the time recruiting's said and done.
Hold on, let me see what this one. They said Enos may have claimed to run a multiple system, but he ran the same plays repeatedly. Yeah, they say the same thing about Mark this season too.
And a lot of that had to do with number 1, the offensive line, and number 2, there were only a few plays that offense could seem to get right.
Yeah, I think his system was too complicated to learn at that quick of a time period that they had to learn it.
And I said that during the offseason. When you bring it in, I also said that about Manny coming in. And I used the example of, look at the first year Nick Saban came into Alabama. They had a worse record Nick Saban's first year than they did the previous year under Don Shula, Mike Shula. That's who the coach was. It was Don Shula's kid. That tends to be what happens when you bring in a new coach. Dabo's first year at Clemson, they were worse than Tommy Bowden's last year.
Will Ray said King, I'm guessing he meant to put through an interception in the first scrimmage. From what we was hearing from every source that that pretty much ran or was a part of that scrimmage, they say King did not throw an interception. They say he did not throw any interception that first scrimmage. They put out his stats, so I don't think they would hide the interception.
I wouldn't think so. You know, and I called before they condensed the season and swapped it to conference only. You know, I called that they would probably have, you know, an 8-4 record,
Yeah.
which to me is an improvement over last year. And if he had gone, like, say everything had gone like normal, and they had gone 8-4 this year, and then, you know, 9-3 or 10-2 next year, great. He's building towards something. And I gave Al Golden that credit because he steadily got better there for a few years, and then dropped off for a few years. And that's where I didn't disagree with people then about getting rid of Golden, because Golden had been given his chance.
Orange or green blood. I did not block black. I did not block Jux. I guess he just got tired of getting timed out, and then he left. Because every time you would talk stupid, I just put him in timeout.
No, I think his mom said it was time for him to do his chores.
That's we got to go wash the dishes.
Wash dishes, take out the trash, clean your room.
Yeah, and don't turn on the PlayStation till I tell you. Anyway, man, I'm finna wrap this up, man. I've been on here for 2.5 hours. I need to go out and do something with my life. So, you know, I want to thank everybody for coming through. Thank you for stopping by, Slim.
Hey, I appreciate you letting me on. I'm finna cut, boss.
No problem, man. Anytime, like I said, anytime. All right, Slim, take it easy.
Yes, sir. Y'all be good.
Yep. All right, so we've been on for a good little minute, man. But anyways, guys, we about to wrap it up. You know, thank you guys for coming through. Hope everybody hit that like button. Thank you. Like I said, thank you. Like I said, the Canes look good in the scrimmages. Defense stepped up this week a lot better. So offense and defense gonna be looking more, you know, balanced. But last week the offense was basically scoring at will, so the defense stepped up this week. So anyway, thank you guys for coming through. Glad to had this talk with y'all. You know, it was real fun and everything. So hit that like button on the way out for me, please. If you haven't already subscribed to the channel, go ahead and subscribe to the channel. Love you guys. You know, y'all have a good Sunday. Take it easy.